Welcome to episode 7 of the Unvarnished Edit, where two friends talk about what it's actually like to live an adversity filled life. Be prepared to laugh, possibly cry, and swear along with us. This is Angie, and in today's episode, we discuss finding love and healthy relationships later in life. We hope you enjoy.
Morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm doing all right. How are you? What's up with you?
I'm doing all right. So this morning I was thinking, I was at the gym and I was like, okay, I got to share this with the podcast. So I have an irrational fear and it's irrational. I know it's irrational. I I do the the red light therapy. It's like total body, whatever. It has a vibration plate and it's a red light. And honestly, I'm like a regular at our gym, so much so, and I don't know exactly how I feel about it, so much so that she starts the total body, like, as soon as I walk in. I haven't even, like, clicked in, and I used to do it, like, every other time, but she always, like, if it's available, she automatically does it, so now I do it every time I go in because I don't wanna tell her no. However, this room, it's a stand-up, right, booth kind of thing,
Okay.
and the rooms have a motion sensor light that works in it. So if the room is dark, what is the obvious understanding? Nobody's in that room because it's dark, right? But my fear, and I do it every single time, and I go to the gym 4 to 5 times a week. Every single time I will go and I walk around to the back of it because I have this irrational fear that somebody's hiding behind that machine. And the moment that I like close the door and lock it,
I'm gonna jump.
like I cannot get in to the machine unless I check. I know what it is. I know that it's irrational and I feel ridiculous every time I do it. And I was like, you know what? I Am I alone in this irrational fears kind of thing? Like we all have them. They
Yeah.
come from somewhere.
Yeah. I'm
But
trying to think of like what my equivalent of that
if you
is.
feel like, "I can't believe that I continue to do this," just know that no matter how far along in your healing, you're still gonna
You're still
have
gonna do
things.
it. It still
You're still gonna
happens. Yeah. I guess
That's all.
that would be like if I was still texting my partner and be like, "Do you still love me?" Like,
Yeah.
right? You just like come from this place of like something happened to me once. And I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably not a good analogy, but I'm trying to think.
No, that absolutely is.
Yeah.
I just did that. I literally just did this to Todd the other day, and I'm like, "Are you mad?" And he's like, "I am the furthest from being mad." He goes, "I am really just enjoying it today." He's like, "I'm just checking." I'm like,
As
"Well,
a
you have a little bit of a mad face on, but I think it's because it's so bright outside." And he's like, "Yes."
He's like, I'm just trying not to burn my retina, ma'am.
Yeah, no, seriously. He's like, "I'm just trying to see."
I do often, like, when we get in bed at night and we're like settling down and like I'm reading and he's on his phone, I'll be like, are you happy we're married? It's like, what?
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's great that we're married, babe. I'm like, okay, good. Like,
Yeah.
just checking
Like,
in.
I just making sure we're still here on this same
Yeah,
page.
yeah.
Yeah, rightfully so. And I mean, honestly, pulls right into today's
That's how it
conversation.
always works. We're so good at
On
segues. We're so good.
our brains, I love it when they're on track. On love and finally finding healthy relationships,
um,
which I have been giving a lot of thought about of
me
thought
too.
to this since we decided. Because one, I was like,
I've been dreading
do
it.
we have yeah.
I've been dreading it.
And like, what does a healthy relationship even mean? Like, that's what I was thinking this morning because, like, we still have arguments.
Mhm.
We still like, what I thought a healthy relationship meant years ago versus what I know a healthy relationship means now are honestly so vastly different, right? Like, it was like, "Oh, well, yeah, of course you'll argue," but no, there are times that I legitimately am like, "What the heck is going on?"
Yeah.
Right? But knowing that I love this man with all my heart, him and I will be together till the day one of us dies.
Mhm.
And and beyond that, because if he goes first, I'm not doing this again. I'm just not. Like, I had already decided before him I wasn't doing it again, so
This
you
time I'm
slipped through that.
serious.
No, no one else is. Like, you were a special circumstance. Um, but yeah, it's not always just happy rainbows and,
No.
things are running smoothly all the time. That actually is not, um, the only time it's ever been like that. I mean, I would say the very beginning, right? But when you're actually in the relationship, it's hard and it's kind of hard work. Um, and so yeah, like, just that thought of like, what is a healthy
Yeah.
relationship?
I don't even know. I don't think there's a definition because it's so individual. Like
Yeah.
I see other people's relationships, the ones that I have like an intimate look into, and some of them are like, yeah, I'm down with the way you guys vibe. And then some of them are like, I'm like, why would you continue on this pathway? But they are legitimately happy. Like there's nothing harmful happening. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh no, sister, I could not do that. So I
Yeah.
think that's the tricky part of it is like, what what is it for you? And I when we come to these, we always have our topic, but I do not do research, you guys.
Oh, no.
I wing it. I wing it. I do think about it a lot. When we know a topic is coming, it like rumbles around in my brain. But this time I actually did some research. I actually, because we were talking about this book Atlas of the Heart the other day, and there was something in there that I was trying, and I had told you I know it's defined better in the book. And so I had pulled it
Yeah.
out to kind of like ground myself in this definition of that maybe someday we'll get into, where it's talking about emotions and the near enemy of emotion, and it opened up to the near enemy of love. And I read it, and
Stop it.
for real, I read it and I was like, this is actually what I think in my brain, and how I can, if I was going to have a like a list of like good relationship, not good relationship, I think this defines like what those two sides would look like. So I'm going to read it, but if you have Atlas of the Heart, it's on page 253 and it's near the back in the near enemy section. So this is what Jack Cornfield says on love. The near enemy of love is attachment. Attachment masquerades as love. It says, I will love this person because I need something from them, or I'll love you if you love me back. I'll love you, but only if you will be the way I want. This isn't fullness of love. Instead, there is attachment, there is clinging, and there is fear. True love allows, honors, and appreciates. Attachment grasps, demands, needs, and aims to possess. And when I read that, I was like, yes, I have so often suffered from thinking I was in love, but I was attached.
Yes. That is literally like reading that, I was like, oh my gosh, that is honestly the difference between our past relationships
Mhm.
and our current one,
Mhm.
right? Is that
I know
fascinating?
this
Because
final,
I was
I'm just going to repeat the final sentence. True love, right? Which is where you and I, the relationships we're in right now, true love allows, honors, and appreciates. Like that is what I have now. Attachment
yeah,
grasps, demands, needs, and aims to possess. And that is where I have come from.
absolutely.
I know.
Yes. Just just absolutely. I think, a little kind of background on both of us level setting
Yep.
is understanding that, um, so Jaelene and I had an agreement after not our current relationship, but after our last
Big blow
long
ups
term
after our last
relationship.
big endings.
We absolutely had the agreement of, if I ever say that I am in love and that I am going to get married, I need you to be like, no, lady.
No,
We had an agreement. We would not let each other go down this path again, because we had proven to ourselves that, one, we p- our pickers were, they were terrible,
terrible.
and um and two, it was just like we just that was part of our lives that neither one of us wanted to honestly kind of try again. And
Was done.
yeah, like yeah, we were just kind of done. The fact that both of us were married again.
You told me you were getting married. I was like, first of all, I was in prison. And so I was like, are you okay? Like, I just remember thinking, like, I was in no place to really mount an argument to anything because
Yeah,
I hadn't really seen, I'd only met him once. I had only seen you guys together once.
yeah, yeah,
And so I was just like, I mean, this is obviously just gonna have to play out, but like, dude, are you sure? Are you
yeah,
sure about
yeah,
this? But now, since I've been home and I've obviously spent way more time getting to know you in this relationship, right?
yeah.
It obviously makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely. And I remember when you went back to your current husband
Oh, I
and
remember.
I messaged you on Instagram and I was like, should I what do we need right here?
Yeah,
What's going
yeah.
on? I need a little bit more information.
You definitely messaged me and you were like, at something to the effect of, should I be worried about you? Like, should I?
Yes.
And so I think you were just like, is this the fact that you're going back to an old relationship? Is this a sign that you're like backtracking or regressing in your progress? And are you scared? Are you, what is really going on? And I appreciate that about us. Like, I,
Yeah.
if you come to me and you say, I'm concerned, I'm going to listen because you know
Yeah.
me and you know what I do when I go off the rails. And
Yeah.
it's so important to have relationships like that, people that you can trust
Yeah.
to say
Yeah.
that will not always agree with you or to push back or to ask you the hard questions, right?
Both of us have in our background some solid narcissistic um relationships in our past, and there have been and we know that um trauma and that happens in relationships. It just does. And healing also happens in relationships, right? That we can't kind of do it on our own. And um I think one of the ways that helped you and I get to a point where we even could look at what a relationship was that was healthy and what wasn't is honestly kind of based on like the relationship that you and I have. At least for me, is there are not a lot of relationships I would say that didn't have some sort of attachment base to it. Now going back to that kind of near enemy of love, um there was a need, and that relationship was there because of that need. Our relationship has ebbed and flowed, and we could go months without talking to each other and then reconnect as if no time had passed, and there was never any judgment on that. Like, we have always just been friends, and that has just been the basis, and no matter what has happened, no matter what has gone on. And the last relationship before my husband now, my oldest came to me. He was in, I think, in 8th grade, and he said, "Mom, could you just not have any more boyfriends until after I leave the house?" And I was like, man, like a dagger to my heart. And I was like, ouch. And yes,
Yeah, you're
like,
right.
yeah, like, thank you for, you know what I mean? That he could even like come to me and say, "Hey, mom,
Yeah.
could we just like cool it?
Can
Just
you
be
stop?
just
Please stop.
us." Yeah, please stop. And so I went 8 years in between that relationship and my husband,
Yeah.
completely single for 8 years. And you know what? I loved it.
Yeah.
I had no problem whatsoever. I didn't care to have a relationship. Um, I was not interested in dating when I met my husband. And so for the people on the outside, it went super fast and
Yeah.
probably looked so odd.
Yeah.
Because I was so hardcore adamant that I was just good by myself. And I really was, like, I really honestly, it wasn't one of those things where you say it out in public, but inside you were like, "Oh, I really wish I had a relationship." No, I really honestly was good, and I had no desire to date. And, I remember you telling me, like, "And you just have to," because you had met your husband from the dating apps, and you're like, it is just a game of numbers. And I remember downloading the app, and I think I was like maybe 2 or 3 days, and I was like, "No, I I can't. I am not built this way to do it." And if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Like, I'll meet him while I'm at work or while I'm out or something. I don't know
Yeah.
how it's gonna look. And it did,
Yeah, you
which
met
is so great.
someone out in the wild. You met, which
Out in the wild.
in this day and age is like what people dream about. That's like the fantasy, is meeting someone
Yes.
in real life.
And so, um for me, it took me totally, completely,
You know what's
100
you know
by
what's
surprise.
funny is I think what I'm about to say um might surprise some people, because I have the exterior of I'm fine by myself. However, I
Okay.
am a deep, deeply lover of romance. I am a
Yeah,
person. And so if you look at what I do versus what I say, I read Pride and Prejudice at least twice a year, every year for the past 10 years of my life. I read romance novels like I've read every single one. I fall for every love story. My movie of choice is a romance. My I love love. I love love stories. And so I have like
yeah,
this little thing inside of me, like the little kid inside of me that has always wanted and has always believed in like one true love, right? Which is crazy. That's not a real thing. But that's always been like in the background of my life, and never having it was always such a disappointment to me. I just would always, in the times that I was single, even the long stretches that I was single, I would always yearn for why can't why can't I figure this out? Why don't I
yeah,
have this love in my life? Because I had friendships with women that were true unconditional love, right? And so I knew I was capable of it. I knew, but I could never translate it into dating. And it wasn't until I did like serious trauma work that I finally realized that all along I had no idea what unconditional love was at all. I was in
mhm,
attachment. All of my
mhm.
relationships were transactional, with the exception of a couple girlfriends and my children. Every adult relationship I had was transactional. And most of the transaction was coming from me. And it wasn't until I was with the person that I'm married to now. It was immediate unconditional love. It did not matter what I did, how I showed up, what I said. It mattered, but it didn't change the way he felt about me. And I had never experienced that before. That I could
Yeah,
say things that were a little contrary, and we could talk about them and argue about them, but he still felt the same about me. And I was like, what is this sorcery? How does
yeah,
this work? I don't have to
yeah.
be a certain way for you to love me. And the crazy thing is I couldn't handle it. It
No,
was couldn't handle it.
um, yes, absolutely. No, that's honestly, that's part of the conversation. Like, I didn't even when Todd and I first got together, it wasn't like, "Oh, I'm in this healthy space and I can now have a healthy relationship." No, we learned how to have a healthy relationship inside a container of a healthy relationship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that container had to, like, the right container
Yeah.
had to be there, and then we all learned how to have a healthy relationship in it, because at the very beginning, I will tell you that I tested and pushed this man in ways that I would have left myself.
Oh yeah.
And even just now, when we have things that are going on, like, I think people think a healthy relationship is something that just kind of happens. Like you get healthy enough, and so then there's a healthy relationship. And what I'm learning is the healthy relationship is actually a continuing, ongoing process that you have to actually work at to not let the past, everybody's past, no matter whose it is,
Yeah.
play a bigger role than the current relationship does.
Yes. Yes. So that's a big part of it, right? I came into this relationship so many beliefs about myself, about relationships, about men, and I have at times let those beliefs dominate and be in charge. And that does not allow things to go the way that they can go, right? And, you know, I would say that my marriage probably was where the biggest amount of damage was done. And leaving that marriage and not getting help after allowed me to continue to get into bad relationships. And to be to be fair, I have terrible taste in men, and that is just proven. I just didn't let it interfere this time.
Yes.
That's
No, it
all.
is that yes, it is that allowance that something could be different,
Hmm.
right? Like having that initial kind of like nudge, like "Ooh, this may actually be different." And of course, we're both coming from totally different spaces than we were. I
Yeah.
mean, yours is post prison, which we'll go into the next in our next episode. Mine is post 8 years of being on my own, and the amount of things that I had done working on myself, and being on my own, had done, um, gotten to a really comfortable place with myself,
Yeah.
which, had never really been in that space, and really taking a hard look at kind of all of the roles that were played in the past, right? And those kind of places. So at these points, um, that we got into these relationships, we were totally different people
Yeah.
than we were previously. And so yeah, we were in a healthier space when we got there, but now we had to learn how to be in relationship with someone else in this healthier space. And that's challenging
Very challenging. It's something that we still deal with every day in our relationship,
every
right?
day.
We just had this conversation the other day. Through EMDR, I'm really learning where I haven't had boundaries before and where I've allowed things to happen before that were not in my own best interest. And my goal is to learn how to make myself the main character of my life, right? I want to be the main character of my own life and do that unabashedly and also alongside someone else, right? To me, I'm learning that a relationship is you and I walking in the same direction together, right? Not you and I looking at each other and this is our whole world, right? And there are a lot of things that I never learned and that I have no idea. I'm very unskilled at romantic relationships. I'm very unskilled. And
Yeah.
he is unfortunately the testing ground for a lot of it. And there are times where I fall into old habits and I don't advocate for myself or I don't say, no, I don't want to do that. And I let it continue and continue and continue. And then it blows up. And he's the person that has to be the container for that and help me learn. I should have said this 3 weeks ago. And there's a lot of repair involved that I've never had to do
Yeah.
before. I've never had to do it before. My, I,
Yeah.
I came into my adult life thinking the way you repaired a, a break in a relationship is you have the break in the relationship, everyone stops talking for a while, and then you start talking again, but never about what happened. That's
Yeah.
what I came into adulthood thinking repair was. And
Yeah.
newsflash, doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah. Nope.
Nope.
That doesn't.
And now at 50, I'm just barely learning how to do an actual repair. And I don't really actually like it. I feel like a child sometimes.
It's hard. Yeah, it's hard. There's so many things that, you think, you almost have to work against yourself, right? We've had that conversation on the kind of safety template and understanding that.
Yeah. I was always told that I was hard to be in a relationship with, to the point that
That's
I know, to the point that I believed that. And so
absolutely.
that's how I would start relationships. When I was dating and I was on the apps and I would start seeing someone seriously, I would actually say to this person, "Hey, I'm really hard to be in a relationship with. I'm
Yeah.
it's I'm not good at this and I'm a very challenging person to be with." But now I'm with someone that he's like, "You are the easiest person I have ever been in a relationship with." And part of that is just because we've done a lot of work and we do have an easy relationship in that sense, but part of it is because there are always two people in a relationship, and I am not a hard person to have a relationship with.
Yeah.
And I did not know that until I was like 45 years old.
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
and very often in therapy, my therapist has to remind me of that. You have 45 years of training that tells you one thing: it's going to
Yeah.
take more than 5 years to undo it.
Yeah.
And that's been the hardest part. And for me, I thought, and like you said, we're doing a had to go to prison episode soon. But I thought when I came out of that time of my life and I had done so much work on myself, I thought I had solved the relationship problem.
Oof.
And then I got into what is factually the worst relationship I've ever been in. And
Yeah.
about 6 months into it, I was doing the same thing I always did in relationship. I was not telling my friends what was really going on. I was becoming very small to make the other person just happy. And I couldn't believe I was doing it again. I could not believe it. I was like, after all of this time and all of this work and all of this difficulty, I am not only back in a bad relationship, but it is actually way worse. This is one of the worst relationships I've ever been in. And that for me was the breaking point. I was like, I gotta go. I left. I'm so grateful. And it was a terrible breakup. I left and I immediately got into what everyone had been telling me to do, to go to trauma therapy. And I was like, this is never happening again. I will never do this again. And that is what
Yeah.
led me to being back in a relationship with the person I'm married to now. It was the best choice I ever made, was to get out of my brain, and to learn how to practice the actual skills and not just think about them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's that practicing the actual skills, right? Of like, um, if something if you get hurt, that you actually need to say, "Hey, this hurts,
Hmm.
and let me tell you why,"
Hmm.
And, having a healthy relationship means saying really hard things
Yep.
and allowing yourself to I wanna say kinda like look at your role. For so many years, I blamed myself for everything that ever went wrong because I was always told that I was the problem as well, right?
Hmm.
Of course we were. We're too much. We're too hard to handle. We need too much. We're just needy individuals. So having conversations, right? And being able to own up to my own part in it without shaming myself, without guilting myself, with honestly having compassion for myself in my part for it, and also saying this hurt. Like I understand my part, but I need to know that your part as well was painful. What can we do to repair this?
I think a transformative thing for me was, it's not me versus you, it's you and me versus the problem. And up until I had this relationship, everything was me versus you. Everything. And I wanted me and you versus the problem. I just didn't know how to language that. And so for me, I had to work on myself and have boundaries, know that I could set boundaries, or that at least I could stand up for myself, and that I could allow someone to see every part of me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's part of the conversation though, right?
Yeah.
Um is being able to have the conversations and know that it's something that um just because I want this, just because I need this, it doesn't have anything to do with you, right?
Yes.
Like that doesn't mean that I love you any less. That doesn't mean that I, don't want to be in this relationship. That just means that there is a part in my space that this is what makes me feel safe
Mm-hmm.
in that place. And I've had the conversation. I mean, Todd and I have had foundational conversations of like, this is where I go sideways, and letting them know ahead of time, right? Like, if I stop communicating with you, we're in real trouble. Do
Yeah.
not let me stop communicating with you.
Yeah.
Like, whatever that kind of takes, but knowing that if that's what I'm doing, this is what is going on,
It's
right?
almost
And
like
that
save me from myself.
absolute
I need
absolutely,
someone
but
who will do that
yes.
for me, who will save me from myself.
Yes, absolutely. Understanding relationships, like having that kind of maybe healthy relationship, is really understanding that there are times that it is about you, a lot of times it's not.
It's not.
And not taking it personally, but being able to be supportive there, even if it looks like it is all me and I'm the reason for everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, being able to have that conversation has been an absolute game changer,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
Todd will say, your face says one thing, your mouth says another. And it's true.
Yeah.
um, and when I get to the point, he's like, I feel like you hate me. Like, you look at me like you hate me. And I said, I can promise you, I don't hate you. If I look like that, it's because I'm really, really hurt. And so while it's still hard for him to be looked at like he's hated, he also does know that if I have that look on me, it has nothing to do with him,
Yeah.
right? Which is trying to counter all of his past relationships and all of his past issues with the whole entire thing, and realizing that I'm hurt.
Yeah.
And so having a healthy relationship is just hard.
It's hard. You have to talk so much. And you
So much.
no, and you know me. I mean, I'm not down with talking so much. I like
Yeah.
quiet. I like very much, very a lot of quiet. And so and I don't like having to explain myself. And I think a lot of that comes from being not understood for so many years, that I just kind of am like, I don't want to have to train you. This is your problem. You figure it out. I get real defiant, and that has been probably one of my biggest life lessons is I get very, very defiant when I feel backed into a corner. And
Mhm.
that's hard to be. So in that sense, I can be hard to be in a relationship with, but I have to talk about it a lot, and I have to say
Mhm.
out loud, I feel very cornered right now, and I can't talk about it. You have to give me time. And so, even just recognizing the ways that I show up help me at least ask for space to allow
Yes.
my fight or flight calm down.
Yeah.
It doesn't take a lot.
Yeah.
It only takes years of therapy and work, guys, to be able to say one sentence and everything will be fine.
I was thinking, still, right, just mulling over, like, what is it though that makes a relationship, like, healthy? Like, we continue to say, like, this is a healthier relationship,
Yeah.
but honestly, there's no active harm. It's active repair of all the time.
Yeah.
Like, we are actively repairing all the time. We're either actively loving or we're actively repairing, right?
Yeah.
We're connecting.
Yeah. And I think it is so hard to define because for me, I think it's the true, there are no conditions. I, if I stopped changing, if I stopped working on myself, I'm okay. For him, as I am right now, he doesn't require me to be different, I guess is what it is. There
Yes.
is nothing. Could we tweak here and there? Sure, whatever. But in a big sense, there's literally no conditions on him being present for me. There's no
Yeah.
conditions. It just is. We just are.
Yeah.
And that knowledge that he has always believed in me and my ability to do this is the only reason why I can keep working on myself,
Yeah.
is because I don't have to. It's not a requirement for him to be here for me.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
safety, I guess, of like, no matter what, he will be here for me. And he was even when I wasn't.
Yeah.
So I think it's the lack of conditions for me.
It is that, like, just actively love no matter, even though my face says one thing and my mouth says another,
He
like,
still loves you.
just actively loves who I am, all of the pieces and kind of all of the parts in that.
Yeah, it's funny because I've never really said out loud very often. I don't often admit how much of a romantic I am and how much I have always yearned to have like a true love story. And so the fact that that's what I got, even though I've never said that out loud,
Yeah.
is kind of crazy. But on our wedding day, and it was like an hour before our wedding, and I was finally alone and waiting, and everybody was like taking their seats, and there was like this moment, this feeling. I was overcome with an actual
Oh,
feeling
yeah.
of, this is the start of the rest of my life. This is it.
I think sometimes in our relationship, because it is that a lot, when I want to self-sabotage and when I want to revert back to old patterns because they feel safe in the moment is when I really am like, "Oh, wait. Like we cannot do this again.
Yeah.
What's actually
Yeah.
going on here?" And then having a conversation about it, which
Yeah.
is really so hard.
Yeah,
Um
I'm still not good at that part, but I am
you
getting so much better at. It's interesting when I fall back into my old habits in this relationship. They feel uncomfortable. And to me, that is the
Yeah.
biggest piece of growth. I'm like, when I'm doing the thing I used to,
Yeah.
I know I'm doing it because I feel uncomfortable. And that part of my brain is dying.
Like, I know that I'm actively hurting him, and I'm like, "What am I
What am I
cannot
doing?
do this. What am I doing?"
And I mean, isn't that the point? Is that maybe that's the reward?
Yeah.
Right? Like, obviously I have this great relationship with a person that is really everything to me. And also, I'm doing it. Like, I'm actively doing this. And
Mhm.
that is the that's the big part for me, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
He's not doing
Yeah.
it by himself. I'm participating in it, and I'm half of what makes it great. And when I act in an old way, I don't feel good. And so
Yeah.
that's what it is, I guess. Maybe that's what a healthy relationship is we are side by side facing the same direction and moving there together, but I am in charge of my side of the street and he is in charge of his side of the street, and we keep them clean for each other and for ourselves.
Yes. I love that, and what a fantastic place to wrap up
Yeah,
the conversation that honestly, neither one of us wanted to
I
have.
did not want to do this.
It's they're hard
It's so
conversations.
vulnerable. It's so vulnerable
S
because, babe, if you're listening, don't tell me you heard this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was literally thinking, what if Todd, like, hears this, right? We're still there. We're still there. We're still actively working on it. Remind us.
Yeah.
It is all.
Yeah.
It is all well. As always, I love you.
I love you.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We always appreciate you spending this time with us. Please join us next week where we will talk about how the heck did Jaelene end up in prison?